all tired. I don't know about you guys, but I am. So there's no introduction, no hosts. I actually like this way because I can introduce myself to you. So my name is Nicole. I'm originally from Brazil. I'm actually very nervous to be here, but I'm very honored to be here as well because Hungary is the land of my ancestors. And to me, they called me here. And you might be wondering, I don't know how many of you are here because you were interested in the subject, or you're here just because you were here for the talk before. So what do I mean by the return of womb consciousness, alchemical embodiment? So before I go into that, I just want to say a little bit about myself and how did I arrive into this field, let's say. So growing up in Brazil, I was exposed to all sorts of mystical and spiritual and philosophical things. And from a young age, I was very interested in ancient Egypt, Sumeria, Babylon. And so after listening all the talks this week, not all, but some of the lectures this week, I started understanding why I'm here and how this work weaves into this environment and the psychedelic movement or tribe. And I'm not a psychedelic who takes psychedelics, although I had some experiences, but not mind-blowing experiences, which I'm looking forward to explore in the future. But I have a psychedelic mind, and I believe we all have. We all have this part of our brain that can access inner worlds and outer worlds, and to commune with nature, and to commune with the elements, and commune with the sun, the moon, and the stars, and to interact with an insect even, and receive a medicine that it might have to share with us. So that's how I live my life, growing up, and of course, in my teen years, everything got upside down, right? But pretty much I've been in this quest, this journey to understand why we're suffering, why life is the way it is, why am I here, what is my mission, what is my role into the world, and how do I effectively can help the world. Because when I was young, I wanted to change the world, right? I wanted to fix the world because I saw all the sorrows, all the suffering. But how do I do that? I'm not a savior. I'm not meant to save the world. So, right after my father died, I met someone who introduced me to a science, because it's not, at the time considered science, but a different approach in looking into spirituality and studying consciousness and psychic abilities, astral projection. And right there I started studying and researching consciousness, but on an experiential way, so experimenting with myself, so not just reading and studying, but journeying into it. And just life took me in a full roller coaster that brought me to New York City when I was 20 years old, and it was then that my initiation, the University of Life, happened to me. So I happened to study psychology as well, but as the rebel that I am, I ended up dropping out because I was like, you know what, psychology is not going as deep as I would like to go and as I already experienced, so I'd rather not. I don't want to be a psychologist anyways, and I regret. So if anyone here is young and you're considering maybe not going to university because you're not accepting the rules and etc., I say to you, actually, if right now I had a psychology degree, whatever I would speak or whatever work that I'm presenting on a bigger scale would have much more credit. So, this is in different levels. So I suggest that you might look into it. You might want to continue university and not be a rebel. So, the womb consciousness, the return of the womb consciousness. I don't know if many of you were here in Massimo talk. Who was here in Massimo talk? Okay, so just a few of you. And who is here that really felt connected to come to this talk, like with the topic? Okay, nice. So in Massimo talk, he was talking about the ancient Egyptian texts and how in the Valley of the Kings in Luxor, there is the tomb of Ramses VI, 4, and there is the mother goddess Nut, which is the goddess of night, and how the pharaoh goes into this I'm not going to get into the description he gave, but I found that it's so interesting. So the pharaoh goes through this 12 hours journey, okay, that hopefully you can see it clearly, that it's happening within the womb of goddess Nut. So she swallows the sun, and there's a whole journey that he's going through. And then she births him through the vagina, the vulva, which I'll be referring as yoni. So she rebirths the sun, which is our rational mind, the solar energy, the masculine principle that exists within men and women, but symbolized by the rational mind. And then he's rebirthed in the darkness of the night, in the darkness of the womb. And that's what the return of womb consciousness is sort of about. And my work, it's very experiential, so for me it's kind of a little bit challenging to be here and speaking about it, because I want you to experience. I don't want to, and I'm melting. I want you to experience. I don't want you to make sense to it, because the mind might resist to this, or might say, oh, but how does that work logically? But when we experience, when we feel, and we drop in the body, because it's the body that has the wisdom that we are missing in our society, right? We are a society that we are often just mind, and yes, heart a little bit as well. But the visceral perception that comes from the womb for women and hara for men, because you guys don't have the womb, but you still have this energy center, so you would have an energetical womb, and you're connected to the womb as well, because we've all been birthed. We've been gestating 9 months in the womb, and hopefully we have been birthed through a yoni. I was not. I was C-section, and that really changes also a lot of how we experience the world, how we were born, how our mother felt while we were in her womb. Did she feel safe? Did she have the masculine being present in her life? Was she afraid? Was she connecting with the baby on a conscious level? Was she communicating? So all of these things psychologically and scientifically is already proven that affect us and affect how our brains are wired. So let me move on, because I tend to speak a lot and I might not get the point. So here it shows that throughout this 12 hours journey that was done in Egypt by initiates, and they did not use psychedelics, although they probably used it as well. The acacia tree, they blended because it has DMT, and they made into it, but it was not necessarily to use psychedelics to experience this rebirth, this death of the solar consciousness of the ego, and this rebirth. So the afterworld journey through the womb realms, the mother goddess Nut rebirthed the cosmic egg sun, and symbolically through her yoni and womb, the dark triangle. So this is a quote from Joseph Campbell, and let me just say that because I was having a conversation with a friend, and this is not feminism, okay? So for the men here, I really honor that you're here and you're part of this work. You're really part of this work, and by no means I try to say that we are, as women, because we have a womb, a gateway that births spirit into matter, that does not mean that you guys are excluded into this process. You're very much part of it. So, he says, the goddess becomes the whole sphere within which we dwell. We are within the womb of the goddess, and within that womb dwell all beings that have form and names, including the gods. The powers we're talking about in the goddess are the powers that live in every woman in the world. So, it's the womb, you know, I mean, can we stop 1 second and think the process of spirit into matter and how does that take place, you know, within the unity of the men and the women through sex and sperm and egg and the fusion of atomic, biologically, explosion, whatever, you know, we want to say. And then we start growing inside of this nest, you know, inside of this space, this dark, watery. And there we are for 9 months, going through the whole process of evolution as we grow in the womb, and then we come out into the world. And I'm gonna get into that, you know, like this dream space, this dream time that we experience while we are in the womb of our mother. And this is what the return of womb consciousness is about. You know, it's us going back to this space within our bodies, either by going back through shamanic, without plant medicine, or with plant medicine. Matter of fact, who here has had like experience with psychedelics that you actually could relate to womb consciousness or the mother? You? Yeah? Okay. Very nice. So, you know, the lost womb religion, and again, I don't want to come out here as someone that is trying to preach something, but I just want to, in 1 hour, to show to you, and if you're interested, you can go and research about it, you can find your own answers, and you can journey within your body and see what your body has to share about that. But there is a lost mystery, a lost womb religion that it's encoded in all religions and all philosophies, and I'm not going to get into it why it happened, and of course there's a reason, because I'm a strong believer that everything has a divine purpose. So we're returning back to this feminine consciousness in men and women, you know, but that does not exclude the masculine consciousness, because that's what the chemical embodiment is about. So here you can see the Ankh, which is the Egyptian key that you can see everywhere in Egypt, you know, and many of these ancient religions and philosophies are encoded with a lot of messages, which actually, to my experience, it's communicating with our DNA. Either we are aware or not, it is communicating with us. So here you have, you know, the Indian, where you have the yoni and the lingam, so the vagina and the penis. Then you have the Holy Grail, you know, in Christian and Catholic religion, which is pretty much fully in code with the mother goddess and hidden a bit, you know. And then right there you can see the womb. And so you might start noticing, if you're interested in this kind of things, that there's codes everywhere about this lost feminine wisdom, this feminine mysteries that was used by our ancestors in harmony, and it was inclusive of men. So this is a cave in Bulgaria that was carved for 3,000 years, you know, and I mean, this is like it was like a ceremonial place, you know, where from time to time the people of this tribe will go to be rebirthed into the cosmic womb or the earthly womb. It's kind of really hard to speak about this topic, you know, so it's I don't want to just be talking, so I just want to give you a bit of what this is about, and then I would like to have you guys experimenting a little bit this feeling, so dropping in your body. So before we do that, I just want to... So another interesting thing is that in Arabic and Hebrew, which are both Semitic languages, the root word for merciful, it's rahim, which is womb. So Rahman in Arabic, which is the term that is commonly translated as compassionate or beneficent, which they use as Al-Arham, Elahim, I don't know how to say it that well, it means womb. And actually in the Hebrew scriptures, you have many times where Rahim, it's said, and of course with Hebrew and Arabic and Sanskrit, there's a lot of room for interpretation as well, so it's not so easy for us to know exactly what they're meant, but if you're interested, you can investigate, and you might find, especially for the women, for the men as well, you might find that actually it's a code for this compassionate and merciful and all-forgiving mother that birthed us all. Again, I don't want to say that this is the ultimate truth, but this is what I resonate, with this mother, and not this father that, well, at least not this kind of father that's perpetuated by religion that punishes us and rewards us if we do good things and tells us to do sacrifices and blah, blah, blah. So in the Jewish religion, before Yahweh, which is God, had a partner, a sacred partner, which was Asherah. And at one point, that got out, so we have to investigate why, why somehow the feminine was pulled aside from religion and philosophy, because even in Buddhism and Hinduism, there's still, yes, there are the goddess and etc., but there's still some wisdom that it's hidden, and encoded. So this is a very interesting one. So the Kaaba in Mecca, where Muslims must do Hajj at least one time in their life, and they circle around the Kaaba, which is the square thing, and inside there is the stone, and to me it's shaped like a yoni. So that's just something to point it out. I mean, I hope that I'm not offending anyone here, but that's something that it's clear to see. I mean, the shape. And of course the black stone, there's a whole other thing about it. And before Muslims were circling around Kaaba, the pagans of that region were doing the same, and were women that were circling naked around Kaaba, and probably honoring, this all-giving and birthing mother. So this is a temple in Turkey that also very clearly shows the vaginal passageway, and then the womb. So this gateway between worlds, which is the womb within us and the hara within man, and it's depicted by many ancient civilizations, has this power to take us to be rebirth and to renew ourselves. Okay. So here it's another going to this encoded wisdom. Hildegard was a Christian mystic, and among other things. And this is her painting, and again, there's always room for interpretation, and I don't want to say, I'd rather you see what you see here, and I would just say what she said, and maybe you can just, if you want, even close your eyes, or if not, just take a look at this picture and see what arrives to you. With wisdom, I have rightly put the universe in order. I, the fiery life of divine essence, am a flame beyond the beauty of the metals. I gleam in the waters and I burn in the sun, moon and stars. With every breeze as with invisible life that contains everything, I awaken everything to life. So she was a womb oracle, like many others. And perhaps you guys know that in ancient Greece and ancient Roman times, they had the priestesses, the prophetesses, that people would come to them, men will come to them to see what are they feeling, what are the visions they are receiving, because somehow for us women, it's a little bit easier to connect with that, to connect with, perhaps because we do have the womb, so it's, biologically speaking, physically speaking, it's a little bit easier to channel oracular visions and insights, but that does not exclude men on that. Let me just say that. Then here is Suhasidi Yogni, which was an Indian teacher of a type of Buddhism and master of meditations, and she attained enlightenment at later ages. And this is a very explosive fiction of her. She's just flashing out her yoni and showing the power. And I mean, nowadays, and for the past few hundreds to thousands of years, perhaps, we have been disconnected from this part of our body, men and women, especially us women. I mean, when I stop, and again, I don't want to sound feminism, but I have to honor the body that I have and the fact that within my womb and within my yoni, a being can come to this world, So, how many of us here, including myself, have been uncomfortable with our yoni, or maybe struggle with pleasure or period, cramps, PMSing? Okay, I guess, yeah. So, I mean, it's not so easy to admit, right? But that's what we're experiencing. And if we didn't have any trauma in this life related to sexuality, but our ancestors for sure have, so we're carrying that as well. And again, that does not mean that man doesn't have trauma and that they might not have problem with their sexuality or with their lingam, not at all. But yeah, let me stop here. So another quote from her, because she's just very, very interesting woman. I am the fury life of the essence of God. I am the flame above the beauty in the fields. I shine in the waters. I burn in the sun, the moon and the stars. And with the airy wind, I quicken all things vitally by an unseen, all-sustaining life. So, let's go to this, back to the womb. So I encourage you right now to just maybe close your eyes if you feel comfortable. And, yeah, gonna... So if you want to lay down and get comfortable, or if you want to, whatever, find a comfortable position. To just close your eyes if you feel comfortable to do so, and find a comfortable position. And just take a moment to drop your awareness into your body. Start breathing softly. Just being aware of your breath. Feeling the air entering your body and exiting your body. Just feeling the ground underneath you. Feeling Mother Earth. Holding you, embracing you, nourishing you. Just bring your breath and your awareness to your pelvis. In your abdominal region. Just breathe from this area, allowing your mind to relax and your awareness to drop in your body, in your breath, into the center of your being, which is your womb and hara. Coming back to this place, just bringing all your awareness, all your attention down there. Like if there's nothing else in the room or nothing else in your body. Notice, how does it feel to be present in your pelvis, in your yoni and lingam, in your womb and hara? How does it feel to drop your awareness down there? You can remember what is it to be in the womb of your mother. Just let your body guide you into the feeling, to the memory that your body holds. Maybe your body is ready to remember what you felt while you were there. Or if not, just allow your body to drop into this womb consciousness, this dream time space that is available for us whenever we want. And you can feel the gravitational pull from the earth that pulls you down, grounding you, inviting you to embody the wisdom that you carry within your body. Just bring your awareness to 2 fingers below your belly button. Just bring your breath and awareness there. Just feel the gravitational pull you down all the way to the center of the earth. To what I call the womb of Gaia. Perhaps you feel to allow your roots to descend from your hara in your womb, all the way down to the earth, passing through all the layers of the earth. Receive.